Leading the pack in this release is the launch of the Charrier FCV platform with the Vivace and Tow rack models. Charrier is a new manufacturing BeamNG universe. Originating from France, this manufacturer embodies the European spirit of 21st century automobile design. The aggressive lens, quirky details, and the wide range of power plants are the hallmark of Charrier's production line, and the FCV platform is the latest expression of their style and engineering philosophy. In keeping with the future of automotive technology, an electric version of the Vivace and Tow rack are available, with the FCV platform having been conceived to support both traditional and electric drivetrains from the outset. From economical commuters aimed at the family market to aggressively tuned hot hatchbacks that turn heads and burn rubber in equal measure, the Charrier has a vision of its vehicles to appeal to anyone. A strong contender on the competitive driving scene, Charrier's chassis are used by several teams in both rally and hill climb competitions. Charrier also enjoys a good relationship with France and Italy's police forces, whose specially tuned versions pursue and contain road-based dirty deeds across the autoroutes and autostradas. Turning to our maps, we have continued the renovation project and are ready to release Small Island. This map has received a major overhaul to bring its appearance better into line with stated geographical location. With the rebuilt harbor, research station, and helipad, we are introducing more points of interest to aim for. The road layouts have been adjusted for better drivability and new off-road trails have been added. Smile Island may not be the largest map in the game, but now offers good reasons to go check it out. In other areas, we have improved the ambient sound systems throughout the game. The directionality of sound is better, pitch wobbling at high speeds should be noticeably improved, and we have reworked the way impact sounds. There has also been some work put into making our sound bank loading logic more support future mod banks. Those of you who continue to drive cars into the water in the hope that they will someday function as submarines will be happy to know that we now have underwater sound ambience. The vehicle team has been hard at work not just on the Charrier FCV platform vehicles, but also remastered some of our older vehicles. In this release, we're focusing on Gavril, with remastering taking place on the Romer D series and H series. To better guide our development efforts in the future, we've implemented an optional game session data collection system. This collects game-limited session data on things like which maps players are using, the vehicles they're driving, and additional features that AF will be disabled. This data is anonymized before any of our employees have access to it, and the collection is entirely on an opt-in basis. Those of you who are okay with us collecting this game session data can give us permission to do so. In the game settings menu, this permission can be withdrawn at any time. We have also updated our privacy policy to include what data we collect, how to opt in and out of the data collection, and how to request the deletion of your data. Gavril D Series Remaster Phase 2. Added 1985 plus pre-facelift parts. New fascia, valance bumpers, 2 options for headlights, 2 options for mirrors. Around half of pickup configs have been converted to this model instead of adding new ones in order to reduce UI clutter/lag. Added D10 Charo, D10 Zeta, D10, D30 Kedarch configurations. Old tow hitches replaced with ball hitch, equipped step bumpers, added receiver hitch, added side step bed, added military parts, utility bar, bull bar, tow hooks, long range antennas, added factory fender flares, added window tint, added rear spare tire holder, added 2-tone skins allowing for secondary colored camper shell, added body color, off-road fender flares, fixed frame torsion bars being too easily deformed, added D10 specific bed cap, various skin V improvements, added new sport exhaust options. Gavril H Series Remaster Phase 2 added long wheelbase frame and body, added heavy-duty frame variants, added H15 LWB, H25 LWB, H35 SWB, and LWB to fantastic configurations. Added custom suspension parts previously added to the pickup, added body color, off-road fender flares, added window tint, fixed frame torsion bars being too easily deformed, added new sport exhaust options, ambulance emergency lights now use the light bar control system, improved materials, and fixed some minor tech. Gavril T-Series fixed frame torsion bar beams deforming too easily, fixed inverted normals on one side of semi-sleeper cab. Gavril Roma Remaster Phase 2. Added extended frame/body, added LXT rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, LXT35 and unmarked police configurations. The Autobello Piccolina has added tricolor configuration, improved rally coilovers with hydraulic bumpers, stop lift, and drag tweets, fixed Roscoe Fuoco color being wrong. Gavril Burnside added front face disc brake part. Gavril Blue Buck added raised front disc brake part, switched radiator to heavy duty version on 423 Sport manual configuration. Ibishu Corvette improved rally coilovers with hydraulic bump stock, tweaked Stage 2 turbo for better responsiveness. ETK 800 series suspension geometry reworked, ETK K series suspension geometry reworked, ETK I series front suspension geometry reworked, improved rally coilovers, added rally steering, improved tire model on TT Sport, fixed rear suspension vibration during braking. Gavril Hopper Crawler replaced 5 lug hub meshes with 6 lug, corrected axle spawn height, tweaked suspension damping. Hirochi Sunburst reworked rear suspension geometry, added closer gear ratios on rally and hill climb versions, improved rally coilovers with hydraulic bump stop, added rally brakes, fit inside 15-inch wheels, reworked Gendarmerie livery, updated flashers replacement. Hirochi SBR added shift light part, lift and drag tweaks, hill climb configuration tweaks, fixed problem with rear shock mounting point. Rocco Moonhawk tweaked race drum brake cooling, 9 Ibishu Pessima, fixed rear suspension vibration during braking. Ibishu Pigeon added ability to open tailgate with O key, reduced parking brake maximum torque to more realistic values on OEM brakes to prevent unrealistic lurching of the suspension. Tweaked overall brake strength and bias on some cars to make them less touchy. Wood crate prop. Reduced bounciness. Small flatbed trailer. Reduced bounciness. Tire model. Tweaked mini tires to adjust issues with high rolling resistance or particular handling traits. Hopper Crawler uses M in arcade mode as well. Implemented all-wheel drive test roller logic and auto adjustments. Light bars now use point lights to illuminate the surroundings. Fixed noticeable artifacts visible on mirrors. Fixed minor typos in vehicle parts, added a variant of the concealed flashers with dark gray casing. Cruise control added electrics values for active and target, normalized spotlight values for all our cars, updated parts values based on aftermarket new values. Wheel roller and tilt ramp, added new piece of test equipment for demonstrating function and driving modes, active differentials. Fixed frame torsion bars being too easily deformed on Blue Buck, Grand Marshal, and Moonhawk. Added new rally tires, added Durade C50 wheels, added Gavril T-slot wheels, added multiple color options to Durade Rally Pro wheels. Updated several wheel textures. Driving Dynamics Part 1, Work in Progress. A completely new system for handling all driving dynamics related tasks, as previously covered in this dev blog. Fully generic and extendable, ESC now not only works based on yaw speeds but also on vehicle slip angle, not intervening during shallow drifts. Traction control has much better understanding of wheel slip even with high-powered all-wheel drive vehicles. Consists of the following components: sensors, actual car sensors and other relevant car stats, sensor hub, central place for all required sensor data, vehicle data, measurements from the car track with wheelbase, steering angles, etc. Virtual sensors core the system trying to provide accurate vehicle speed and body slip readings based on integrating accelerations. Actuators, electronic diff lock, diff locking by braking a wheel, electronic split shaft lock control of the all-wheel drive clutch, adaptive dampers, dynamically changing damping, adaptive sway bars, dynamically changing stiffness, active diff lock coming in the future, and active diff bias coming in the future. Supervisors, yaw and traction control, shared active supervisor components, brakes, biggest contributor in yaw control, also used at low speed for traction control. Throttle, main traction control component, also used for all-wheel drive coming in the future, and diffs coming in the future. Drive modes. Implemented vehicle-wide drive modes that can affect the following things: default transmission modes for automatic DCTs, exhaust muffling, any controller that supports it. Here are some examples: digital gauge cluster controls, adaptive dampers, adaptive sway bars, all-wheel drive control logic, ESC settings, TC settings. More specific examples are sport mode, default transmission mode to S, open exhaust valve for less muffling, changes gauges to red, hardens the dampers, stiffens up the sway bars, makes all-wheel drive more aggressive, changes ASC to allow for more slip angle, adjust TC for less action. Off-road mode, different gauge colors, soft dampers, soft sway bars, all-wheel drive lock to four-wheel drive, ESC and TC adapt to less grip. Drive modes supersede the old ESC modes as they include that as well. Enable drive modes can be determined by installed parts. JBeam setup supports a powerful default system to make sense. Levels. Small island renovation. Rocks retexturing and placement in the port area. Improved tunnel with new textures. Updated old clutters. Created and dressed up 4 off-road trails. Created new textures for the map. Added harbor area. Added helipad zone. Added new props. Improved rock level of detail meshes, fixed wobbly tree trunk, smoothed ridge and tunnel terrain transitions, added bumps for damaged road sections, added underwater mesh, updated mini scenarios and associated objects with new terrain, added depth map to simulate soft soil, updated old bridge, new mesh and textures, created new textures for the level, exchanged old trash decals with new textures, added fishing dwelling buildings, deleted old assets. East Coast USA. East Coast USA. Fixed waterfalls using the wrong cube map, deleted all floating objects in the level, corrected drivability of various cosmetic decal roads, fixed nav graph of the intersection. Scenarios. Fixed card delivery scenario, added option to have purely flow graph based scenarios, add flow graph file name to the scenario, JSON where file name can be relative or absolute path. Setting flow graph true will check for a flow graph file with the same name as the scenario JSON file. Flow graph projects loaded like this will stop and be removed when the player leaves the current level. This will prevent any scenario related code to execute, so you need to handle level loading, vehicle spawning act in the flow graph project. Added supply delivery scenario, added gravity fuel scenario, added soccer and multi-seat scenario. Traffic. Fixed bug for when deactivating traffic, not all vehicles were being removed. Traffic code optimizations, multi-spawn optimizations. Tweaked audio, tweaked engine sound EQ settings, normalized volume change of mufflers, adjusted volumes of gear whine for gearboxes, prepared bank loading logic for future mod banks, added new i3 and i4 engine exhaust sets. Improved vehicle filtering based on cone angle, underwater audio filter and ambient sounds, ambient sounds filtering based on distance to ground, various subtle and ambient sounds edits, volume and filter changes, improved fire sounds, reworked ambient sounds for small island V2, fixed audio pitch wobbling in several circumstances when the camera or the vehicle are traveling at high speed, impacts that are generated from sound absorbing materials do not generate any sound now, non-metal materials generate a generic impact sound now, detecting and exposing camera information to Fmod when the camera is underwater, camera height information to ground to sea level, improve the direction calculation for vehicle sound emitters, fixed vehicle blend sounds being missing due to incorrect data. Input. Made light bar input actions global. Steering speed caps adjusted so that 540-degree steering rally steering parts can move even faster than 720-degree when using gamepad or keyboard. Added deprecation warning for vehicles still using input key system instead of vehicle-specific bindings. Improved track IR head tracking sensitivity thanks to forum user Descore and Den Choke for the suggestion. Powertrain. Gearboxes can now exist without clutches without throwing errors, made combustion engine aware of exhaust direction for better audio support, added default turbo wastegate limits that are slightly bigger than wastegate starts, implemented dynamic tire radius measurement to combat excessive tire stretch at high speeds, added API to get downstream wheels connected to a given device, added DPI to get upstream propulsion device for a given wheel, splice shaft. Default clutch value can be set from J-beam. Electric motors can now expose their throttle. UI. A changed main menu icon in the sidebar, improved its tooltip, added warning to hardware accelerated UI setting, improved some graphic settings, naming, and descriptions. Environment menu added environmental temperature info, adjusted fog slider scale, made time values visible. Renamed background FPS limiter option to a more intuitive description, improved the direct input error message that implied a steering wheel was at fault when it's any device that can be at fault. Messages app now keeps order of multiple messages arrive unordered. Renamed background FPS limiter option to a more intuitive description. Improved the direct input error message that implied a steering wheel was at fault when it's any device that could be at fault. Messages app now keeps order of multiple messages arrive unordered. Replay. The Replay UI app now displays fine-grained interpolated timestamps rather than the coarser recorded timestamps. Fixed inability to load replays recorded in time trials mode. Game engine. Ceph fixed F5 not showing change due to cache. Prevented drag race UI to be shown when changing map. Bitmap PNG fixed fatal assert when reading a file that is written multiple steps by external software. Example given git. Fixed PNG loading saving Andianness with 16-bit shape preview. Added set input enabled X file system. Fixed file system suppressing some notification. Updated DirectX text to December 2019. Activated texture cooker. Improved JSON handling, switched to rapid JSON. Thumbnail script. Implemented a basic MView window to start the script easily, available in showroom level. Added tweak camera window, work in progress. Render, depth of field, post FX. Fixed near blur not working, added debug mode, changed how the sliders work, now works in HDR color space. Light rays, post effects, various improvements, improved behavior at sunrise, sunset, now uses sun color light rays. Post effects, various improvements, improved behavior at sunrise, sunset, now uses sun color. Added occlusion scale property to scatter sky entity used to calculate flare size for occlusion. Water objects and caustics now properly react to sun brightness. Fixed material generation issues, making the render to use random textures for normals. Fixed spotlight attenuation issues at the borders when using large angles. I'm gonna kill that cat. Fixed certain cells materials not updating when painted new materials. Fixed a random issue causing invisible vehicles. Fixed negative colors caused by detailed textures. Fixed multiple issues when using sRGB textures. Fixed some issues with FOV breaking with shadows. Fixed bug in dynamic reflection causing random issues on reflected vehicles.